Okay, last time I made a video, I talked about how the wiring in the brain connects up, and the way it connects up determines how many things we can perceive and how many things we can manipulate. Now, the way it does that is that, like, for example, like, there's this thing called the parietal lobe. Now, the parietal lobe, um, Now, the thing is that there's electrical impulses, and the impulses are go through the wires, the white matter wires, and then when they do that, they go into the gray matter, and the gray matter is um, is the part that actually conducts the signals. And when they conduct the signals, it's feedback. So when they receive feedback, they're saying that okay, we see all these things around us. So when they see all these things around them, um, it's the parietal lobes get it from different angles. So it's just as the eye goes like has four directions, the parietal lobe has four directions, and so it builds up the feedback that way to see which where things are coming from in space, in space. And like the temporal lobe does things, so like a cup, or whereas the parietal lobe would be where the cup is in space. And so the thing is that what happens is that when you manipulate something, the the frontal lobes send signals back to the parietal lobes, and when they send these signals back to the parietal lobes, they like, for example, you have two things and you want to fit them together so that you can make a tool or something like that to get a cookie or something like that. You're trying to get a cookie, but you need to put these two things together. So you have these two things in memory, but the thing is, so the frontal lobes send signals to the parietal lobes, and if because well, first of all, the parietal lobes send signals to the frontal lobes. The frontal lobes has a storage area of like these two objects, and then it sends it backwards or side to side, and they send the way it is that it has it in memory, and then they send the signals to each other. Um, it's a little bit ambiguous about how that happens to me at the moment, because like I don't know what the wiring diagram is at the moment. I just know that the wires connect to each other, and that one the like this object over here that it's trying to connect to, it sends signals that makes the other object go around it and try to fit around it, and then all of a sudden it fits in one area, and then all of a sudden that confirms that that it fits, and then that confirms that you can get the cookie now, because you made the tool correctly or whatever. And so because and so the thing is that, like, the feedback of mechanism in the brain has to do with holding a signal. Okay, so first of all, we do have a map of reality. So like I can see that my cell phone is right there. I can see my cup is right there. So the thing is, like, I can imagine that the cell phone goes into the cup because they're the right shape. That they like it's like they could fit right there. So my cell phone is in the cup. It's a stupid little thing I did right there. But the thing is that was possible, and so and I did that as a demonstration because I needed a demonstration, and so I just had to do something. Just like, I mean, it's not going to get me a cookie, but but I did know that it would fit. It would fit, and I know that my water jug right there will not fit into the cup. But how do I know this? How do I know this? It's because I have the signals in my brain are generating inside themselves. So the signals are in my brain, and because the signals are in my brain, I can see things, and then because the wires are hooked up together, send signals and put them around each other. I can just like send the signals in the right way, in like a triangle like fashion that goes around itself, and get one object to be with another object. And so that's like in real life, but also it also, when you think about it, it's all the objects that you've ever thought about, like if you think about how, okay, so I need to fix the car, I need and I have over 100 tools in my toolbox to fix a car. What do I how do you know which tool is the right tool to fix the toolbox, to fix the problem in your car? You see the shape of the problem, and you remember the shape of the tool, and they click together. How does that happen? The signals are going past each other, are interfering with each other, and they have to interfere with each other through the memory and the wires in your head. And so there's that. And so I guess that in a compute well, I guess first, before that, it's like so the frontal lobes are sending signals to the back, to the visual. Okay, there's the perception, and then there's the frontal lobes that like control everything, that like that mediate which thing, the rotation. Like, so the frontal lobes mediate the rotation, and they also mediate language. And language is just like a causality thing anyway, where you're putting words together to mean something, to say this is reality. So that's all language is saying, like, this is reality, and I'm putting words together to tell you the way it is. So, and that's what language is. So, and then the frontal lobes is like, I'm putting things together in a way to fix the car with the 100 tools that I know. And so, like, and I just have to figure this out someday, but like, it's just that, like, the frontal lobes take perception, and they send signals and they send signals in the proper fashion. So like, and when they send signals in the proper fashion, they're able to know that this problem right here, that tool number 567 is the tool that you need to solve this problem or whatever. And it's a control mechanism. So like, it's that that first of all, that the brain creates signals to generate that reality exists. And then second of all, the frontal lobes generate a way to manipulate. It's manipulating internally, because like it can't manipulate externally. Like, that would just take too long, just like banging a rock against another rock. Like, you can't learn anything that way. It all has to be internal. You have to, like, I had to know that the cell phone would fit in the cup, and I couldn't just try out everything in my desk to see if everything in my desk would fit. I have to know that there's a causality to everything, and so so as, so the frontal lobes are a control mechanism that it doesn't manipulate itself. The frontal lobes don't manipulate themselves, except like somewhat to control themselves better. But they manipulate the back of the brain for perception, so that they can know how to put things, how to know what to do later, so that because you know what's out there, in as in shapes. Like I know what my cell phone looks like. I know what the cup looks like. And that's in perception. And then the front puts it around itself, and then I put the cell phone in the cup, and then I get a cookie. If that was the proper way to get a cookie. But anyway, and that's also how imagination works, is that like that a person that has imagination, the frontal lobes send signals to the back of the brain that generates something that goes back to the frontal lobes, and it makes a decision. And it's like, okay, is this the proper way to do it? And so it creates a loop. So creativity is a loop and stuff. So, and once you have a loop, you're able to just do stuff. And so the thing is that there's something important about how the wires in the head, in the frontal lobes, connect to the back of the brain in order to just manipulate. So and also like the memory. So the thing is, like, you don't just manipulate one thing. We have general intelligence. So in order to have general intelligence, you have to be able to learn different ways of manipulating. Or in perception. So like memory allows us to see millions of different objects in the world, and also to manipulate in millions of different ways those objects. Because instead of just like being hardwired, we can just go we can go to memory and access, okay, this is what I need to manipulate right now. This is what I need to see right now. And by doing so, we can create maps in our head of reality, and then see what happens if we change those maps. If those maps are good, then we can do things, and the loop that makes those maps change, and not just like mechanical but like artistic, that those are a good way to that memory allows us to do that too, is that it allows us to be creative internally inside ourselves also.